Hello everyone, Brian Trepanier here. We're going to quickly go through the process of character animation called Trepanimating or Trepanimation, and once we're done this, you will be a full-fledged Trepanimator and you will be able to go out and find yourself lucrative work as in this new exciting field of Trepanimating or Trepanning as the short form is, but not Trepanning with three ends, just trepanning with two ends, because trepanning with three ends, as everybody knows, means drilling holes in the skull to relieve pressure. And this is not a medical tutorial. It's about animation, or trepanimation, which I will not say too many more times, but since it's kind of a fun word for me to say, I will say it now and again. So first thing we want to do is make sure, well, let's just open a new scene here, and it's all done. And we want to make sure that user preferences, that we have the Trepanning add-on enabled. So just get that, install it, and you'll be good to go. And once that's done, you need to have a character. I'm on the assumption that people listening to this know how to build a mesh and skin it to a skeleton or an armature, as the case is. So with that belief that you know what you're actually doing, I will skip the steps because I don't particularly enjoy them, and I will just use a mesh that I took from blendswap.com, Anna Blend. So it's a female mesh that we got going on here. Character, female character, woman. And you can tell it's a woman, female, because of the shape of the feet here. That's why women don't run as fast as men, is because of that. If it wasn't for that difference there, there'd be nothing physiologically different between a man and a woman. But there you go, scientific proof, and programs like Blender are often used for scientific visualizations, and there you go, there's one of them. And also you'll notice that all we're seeing here is the armature, or as I like to say, the skeleton, because we only see the skeleton here because, again, it's Anna is the character, and Anna is a woman, and we're in object mode here, and a woman is not an object, so subsequently the Anna model will not show up inside the object mode, but once we render out, everything will be fine, and you'll see everything as it should be seen. First thing we want to do is something that everybody probably already knows, that if you've worked with the Armature more than 15 minutes. We're going to go into edit mode and select the wrist, and this is I'm just doing this because this is the skeleton as I got it from Blend Swap, so it needs some minor additions to trepanimate properly. So with the wrist selected, we'll do letter E and Z to extrude a new bone up on there, and then with the other wrist over here, same, E and Z, or Z as civilized countries say. And then down here at the ankles, we will, the heel, the ankle, the thingy there, we will go E and Y to extrude out a bone along the Y-axis. And there is an option up here for X-axis mirror, but because of the way this skeleton was made, this armature was created, in other words, not by me, the X-axis mirror doesn't work, so we're just doing this by hand, but this is the last one, E along the Y, or the Y, as some countries say. And we want to, while we're in edit mode here, yeah, let's do this here first. Okay, so we're going to select that bone and come on over here, and we're going to call that arm IKR because it's the right side, and we're going to shut off the parent so it's not actually connected to the system. Same over here, except we will call this arm IKL, and we will shut off the parent. Down here, this will be leg IKR, shut off the parent, and leg RMIKL, shut off the parent. And I know there's lots of people that would probably like that, to be able to just shut off the parent. So what we want to do at this point is, or what I want to do, again, maybe you'll find a better way to do it, but it's not Trepanimating, if it's not this particular process, which is a process I developed in January 2015 while working on the Music of Junk rhythm animation. 14 characters, and as I was going along, it's just like, oh, look what I can do. And it's a technique I've never seen documented or demonstrated anywhere for any software. The only software I'm aware of that it could possibly work in would be Blender. So there it is. It's if it's never been created, here I am creating it and giving it to the world like penicillin. Except if you want to actually make money off it, then call me for licensing. But if your software is already capable of doing it without any changes, such as Blender, well then, Tele4. Thanks a lot for all the hard work to get me this awesome program. So with that bone selected and they're all turned off, okay. I want that selected, I want that selected, and I want the chest selected. Then I'll do Control P, and I will keep offset. And I'm also going to letter N and start screencast display so you can see what I'm doing down here. Even though I use a left-handed mouse, so the buttons are reversed to what I'm actually clicking. Oh, there's Harley Davidsons running up and down the street, making sure the city is safe. We all appreciate them. Safe from silence. Okay, and while we're still here in edit mode, the motorcycle completely confused me, makes me want to jump on a bike and ride. We're going to go Control S or Shift S and cursor to center, and then Control A to create an armature bone there, and then RX90 for rotating on the x-axis 90 degrees. S 0.5 for scaling it to half the size, 3 on the numpad to go to the side view, and just move that down to there. And then I want to select this bone, and this, whoops, let's go again, this bone, and then finally that bone, and Control P, and make parent, keep offset. And this bone, for the sake of it, I just like calling it bone main. You can call it as you like. Grab some water and you can visit one of the ad sponsors. Okay, and as far as I know, we're back, as long as everything is recording and such. Okay, now we are done inside of the edit mode. So let's see, yes, we're done inside the edit mode. So let's go inside pose mode. And now in pose mode, okay, yeah, move that around, everything will move. Good. So what we want to do in here is select that bone there and come on up to bone constraints, and we're going to add inverse kinematics. And inverse kinematics, we will chain length it of 2, and we're going to look for the Anna armature, and we're going to look for the arm IKL, so that now controls that arm. This one over here, same deal, except we will apply it to the right side. So arm IKR and a chain length of 2. And we don't have any elbow IKs or knee IKs. It's not necessary for this demonstration. Figure those out yourself and add them in if you don't already know. And I'm not going to apologize for people that already know how to do this, because select the leg, inverse kinematics, chain length 2, and an armature. This one will be leg, so leg IKR. And this one over here, same idea, except left. Chain length of 2. Okay, and if I'm correct, and I usually am, we should all be set, except let's select that foot, come up to the bone tab, and turn off inherit rotation. Select that foot, and shut off inherit rotation. And I'm going to go Control Shift S and plus sign to give me an increment save of Anna 1. Okay, so now if I move you, that moves. If I Move you, that moves. If I, that looks good. That looks good. And that's fine, and that moves everything. Okay, so that's it. We're done. Have a good night. Oh, okay. Let's move on to another part then, if you're insisting. Let's save this one. Now we want to split that twice and split it thrice, and this one down here we will make that a video sequence editor, and view, turn off the show seconds, and this one up here we're going to turn this into a dope sheet, and that's all can stay the same. This one here, 1, and let's, whoops, scroll up around the neck head area. Okay, so now inside the dope sheet we will go Control A and import a sound which will be Parisian by Kevin MacLeod, the omnipresent internet composer. Music is on millions of videos, I'm sure. He creates some good stuff and he makes it available for free for people to use, so it's always nice to have quality material available for free, so thank you, Kevin MacLeod. So this is 599 frames long, so I will make the animation 599 frames, and then to bring everything into view, home key, and then up here again, home key, but that shrinks you down when you're in the VSE, doesn't matter, VSE standing for something sequence editor, video sequence editor, or Vancouver Sympathy Extra. Letter N, and draw waveform. Letter N, make that go away, but now we can see the waveform, which come in handy when we're trepanimating. Okay, I brought this into Audacity earlier, and brought it into Audacity right here. I brought it into Audacity. I added 1 second on the end and 3 seconds on the front, or a couple seconds on the front. And I deleted out some of the tune, just took out a chunk to make this faster. And so the silence on these ends are just in memory of the sound that's no longer with us. And we will just save, because we're going to save. So now we also want to, down in playback, turn on audio scrubbing. And now when we scrub across, and that's kind of loud, so I'm just going to turn that down a little bit. So when we scrub across, we'll hear the music. So that comes in handy. So with that selected there, we will select the neck, and I'll double tap R to move it over, and I'll go letter I, and then we have a whole selection of keyframes that we can insert. So we'll insert an R. And then we can come up to the edge there and do double tap R and R, and we can come to the end and double tap R, come on over, and then go R, and now we have 3 keyframes, and it's more or less in time with the music. So if we put another one there, it'll make it look a little bit better, you know, because it is a kind of a tedious thing to be an animator, that's for darn sure. Oh, but okay, so anyways, we got, what, 4 keyframes in there. This is about a 20-second clip, and we managed to get 2 seconds, and it took about 20 seconds, so it's not so bad, but oh my god, is that ever boring. So let's try actually doing what I came here to show you. Letter A to select everything, and then Control R or Alt R to clear out all the rotation. And up here, we'll letter A to make sure everything is selected, and then delete all those keyframes. And now what we want to do is, when this thing here is selected, we want to come on down, and we want to have this automatic keyframe turned on, and then we want AV sync turned on, which is essential. So again, if your software doesn't do it at this moment, and you say, hey, I'm going to put that in my software, oh, this process is just brand new. It's going to revolutionize animation. Okay, so with that, we'll just, and then maybe I'll double tap on the R. And there you go. You just animated the head. And 20 seconds, it took 20 seconds to animate it. So we can lock that, and we're going to turn off the influence, where it is here, locking it. So now we're not going to actually see it move while we pick something else to move, and we don't get confused by it. But at the same time, maybe you want to see it for timing purposes and what have you. So let's do this one here, and this time it'll be a double tap on the G. And okay, so there's an arm animated. We'll lock that. We'll turn off the influence. This one here, we're going to do this one. We'll do it a little differently. We'll go to the front view and Alt-A and double tap G. So it's not really all that different yet, but it will be at the end of this particular iteration of the Parisian by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. You saw that little flip that happens in the elbow. That's just because we're not running with any IK for the elbows, so you'd have control of that if you set up an IK bone for the elbows as well. Okay, so with that one selected still, we're not going to lock it. We're going to actually expand it. And you can see it's given us a whole bunch of other stuff. So we don't need Z scale or Y or X scale, and these darn quaternions, we sure don't want those. They're nothing but trouble, so there's no room in this world for quaternions. Not in my world anyway. We do want the Z or Z axis, and we also want the X or the the axis here. And so we're going to keep those, but we'll lock those, and we will turn off the influence. And the Y we don't need, so let's just delete that right out of there, get it out of the way. And now we will come to here and Control-3 to come to the side, and I will now animate just the Y. It's gonna, I'll be able to move in all the directions, but it's only actually going to be recording the Y. And okay, so that one is done. So what we can do now is turn these on, and if you want, you can still go in and you can delete all that extra stuff, particularly if you're doing games and you want to save on memory. You don't need these particular rotations and scales inside inside of there. Then just delete them out, and it's less information to be memorized or whatever games do with it. Arm IK, so we're done with that one. We can collapse it back up, lock it, turn off its influence. I'll just quickly come to the front view here, and just a couple more bones. I'm just going to do a fast chest bone here. Okay, we can lock that one, and we'll turn that one off. I will now do this hip here. I will zoom out a bit so you can see the feet. The feet will never go down below 0, but they can go higher if you want to do a jump or something of the sort. I should have put an angle on it a little bit. Actually, yeah, I'll just do that. So we'll just cancel that out, and everything else is locked, so I can just come up here and I can just go delete, and those are all gone now. And I want to actually animate it a little bit from an angle like this. And if we had IK for the knees, it wouldn't go cockeyed, but that's okay. Okay, so the hip is done. So now we'll just do one last bone here on the leg. Go to 3. I just want to do this one here to show. What we're going to do is set up a bone constraint. Let's turn off the hips and lock them. Let's save what we got going on. Want to come up to bone constraints with that particular IK bone here selected. And we're going to add a limit location, and we're going to set it to local space, which now means where it sits is 0. 0, 0, 0 all around is where this particular thing sits in its local space. So minimum 0, anything minimum in a location is the smallest number that will appear. So 0 will be the smallest one here. You can go to negatives, but they would always be in the minimum. So it will never now go minimum below 0 meters, which is where it sits exactly right now. We can go higher than that by limiting that. Right now it won't move anywhere because it's at 0 as well. So we're inside here, and this is basically 1 meter, which is metric system measurements for those existing in the imperial system world. So with the minimum at 0, maximum, we'll set this to 0.5, which will be 50 centimeters with the scale that I have, because I have the world set to metric. So we'll set it at 50 centimeters, and now you'll see it can go up that high, it cannot go any higher. And then the leg again can get all weird because we don't have any IK for the knees set up, but that's fine. And it will never go down below there, and it won't ever go up above that, but that's too high. So we'll set that to 0.25. And now that's as high as it can go up. And now we will set for the Y, and this one here will be negative 0.2, which will be 20 centimeters that way. And this one will be 0.2, which will be 20 centimeters the other way. So now that's as far forward as it can go, and that's as far back as it can go, up as far and down. So it's in this box for its movement. It can do whatever we want in that box, but it won't go outside of there. And we will also set, just for the sake of completeness, negative 0.1 on the X and 0.1 on the maximum on the X. And now, oh, my stomach just growled big time. Food is cooking, and hopefully this will be done by the time food is ready to next stage it. Yes, so that's all fine and dandy. So now it's all locked. Let's save that, and just one last, whoops. So it's also relative to where you put your mouse at the time, so I should have had the mouse down by the bone when I set it. So that was a sloppy leg, but whatever, it's done. So we'll lock that. I can turn everything back on, and if everything worked the way that it should have, and it usually does, we should now have a dancing character. Not sure how this will look because I'm capturing at 10 frames per second, but looks pretty smooth from here. Oh, the Armature. Okay, so there you go. Quick, dirty Trepanimating character. You can use it for any rig setup, obviously. You know, you can also do ambient type animation like that. Just do a character quickly like that, and then go into the dope sheet and delete out any of the sections for any particular bone where you actually want to put a hard animation, a hard keyframe in there, as opposed to these just little loosey-goosey kind of stuff that got created. But regardless, it worked, and hopefully this capture and everything else worked as well. Yeah, I could leave it at that, but we'll do one last little thing. Let's come over to object mode, and this here Armature action, I'm going to call that dance, and I'm going to open up my blend for web add-on, and I will call that dance as well. And I'm going to bake this animation to the skeleton. It'll take about 4 or 5 seconds. Meantime, I will have a drink of water. And when that's baked, I will just to make sure. Let's select that. We're in object mode. Its location is zeros. Everything is zeroed out. Okay, let's go to the mesh. Is everything zeroed? Yes, okay. So, in theory, oh wait, let's select this and we'll come to, no, we come to the data block and scroll down to blend for web section, and animation we'll use default and we'll loop it. And I'm just going to save and file, export as blend for web HTML, sexy woman HTML. Sure, why not? And it will save it, and inside of here we have sexy woman HTML, and let's open with Firefox, and let's see if it worked. And there we go. We got ourselves an HTML page with our dancing character on it. You know what you can do with HTMLs, you can stick them all kinds of places. And this here you can see it's got backface culling on. You can turn that off and then you wouldn't be able to see through like that. But yeah, and then when she's done her dance, she'll go back to the beginning and then she'll do it again because it's uncyclic. And that was just exported out. I didn't put any audio or whatever. But regardless, that is blend for web. But that's just a little addition to the animation technique, the trepanning method of character animation, or animating any rig. So I hope you find it useful, and thanks a lot for watching. Have yourself a good day.